This didn't make any sense to her. How did a melody that she had locked down over the summer, last summer, suddenly appear on Jennifer Lopez's album? This was something that really bothered her.
Baby, I hope you're seated, because this tea, it's piping hot and messy as hell. So you've probably heard the whispers how both Beyoncé and Jennifer Lopez allegedly pushed other artists out of the industry. But what if I told you that they didn't just push anyone out? They might have strategically taken the career that was meant to be Mariah Carey's. Not accidentally, not coincidentally. Allegedly, this came from Mariah herself. Whew, let's get into it. In the 90s, Mariah Carey was that girl. She dominated the charts, wrote her own hits, produced her own albums, and maintained tight control over her image, something the industry hated giving to women, especially women of color. She was glamorous, mysterious, multiracial, and genre-blending. Mariah wasn't just successful, she was the blueprint. Period. And guess who noticed? Beyoncé. There are old clips and interviews where a young bae is practically fangirling over Mariah. She once said that vision of love is what made her want to sing in the first place. She wasn't name-dropping Whitney or Aretha in the same breath. It was Mariah who lit the fire in her. Beyoncé even...
I don't know this. I love Beyoncé, but I haven't.
Mariah just flew in from her own planet, I'm telling you. This is Mariah's...
My own planet?
Yes.
I did.
Yes, absolutely.
And I don't...
called her one of her biggest inspirations. But somewhere along the way, that admiration stopped. The shout-outs faded. The fangirling disappeared. And some fans believe it's because Beyoncé started to feel like she had surpassed Mariah. Now, let's keep it real. Mariah is undeniably a legend. But she doesn't always get the same critical respect as icons like Michael Jackson or Prince. She's often reduced by the media to a glittery diva who shows up every December in heels and a Santa suit. Meanwhile, Beyoncé has been crafting a legacy as the female MJ, a cultural, visual, and sonic game changer. And in that narrative, Mariah might not fit. Maybe Bey saw her less as an inspiration and more as an obstacle. Now here's where it gets messier. People in the industry have whispered that Beyoncé's rise wasn't just about talent, it was about power moves. Through her and Jay-Z's connections, some allege they had the ability to subtly shift the spotlight away from others, including Mariah. It's said that those who play the game, kiss the right rings, and make the right alliances rise sometimes at the expense of those who might actually be more talented. And just when it couldn't get spicier, enter Jennifer Lopez. Because while Beyoncé was rising, guess who else started popping up around the same time? Yep, Jennifer Lopez.
Die kenne ich nicht.
And her alleged history with Mariah? Baby, that's a whole separate chapter in this messy industry saga. Now let's be clear, J.Lo is gorgeous, undeniably talented in many ways, and has that star power. But vocally, she's not even in the same stratosphere as Mariah. Still, somehow, J.Lo gets handed the global superstar label. Movies, fashion deals, fragrances, a Super Bowl halftime show, literally everything. Meanwhile, Mariah, one of the greatest vocalists ever, was suddenly being sidelined. And while there's no direct evidence that Beyoncé sabotaged Mariah's career with J.Lo, the situation is a lot clearer. Let's rewind to the early 2000s. Mariah...
There are rivalries, but I don't think she has anything to do with me. I mean, my whole thing is singing, writing songs. Yeah, and, I've been doing this, my whole life. Singing is first and foremost. It's a God-given talent that I'm grateful for. Her thing is something different.
Was dealing with drama, her crumbling marriage to Tommy Mottola, who was also the head of Sony Music. At the same time, she was working on the movie Glitter and had secured a sample from Yellow Magic Orchestra's 1978 song Firecracker for her single Loverboy. Everything was in motion until the unthinkable happened. Mariah was stunned when she heard that exact same sample on a track from J.Lo's album. Yes, J.Lo. Suddenly, the song Mariah was planning to release had been given away, and it gets worse. Tommy Mottola, who was still bitter over his breakup with Mariah, allegedly gave that Firecracker sample to J.Lo on purpose, to sabotage Mariah. He reportedly shelved Mariah's version and rushed J.Lo's track to market first. And yes, J.Lo played along. In her memoir, The Meaning of Mariah Carey, Mariah doesn't hold back. She says, "Much of what went wrong with Glitter led back to Tommy. He was very angry about the divorce and my departure from Sony. He used all his power and connections to punish me. There was no way he was going to let me or Glitter shine. And that wasn't the only shady moment. When asked in an interview to comment on other singers, Mariah was gracious about Beyoncé, calling her nice and a good writer. But when they asked her about Jennifer Lopez, Mariah said, "I don't know her." Iconic. That moment has become legendary. In a 2002 appearance on Larry King Live, Mariah was asked if there was any beef between her and J.Lo. Her response? "There's no competition if the other person can't sing." Oof. She even addressed the long-running rumor that J.Lo doesn't sing her own songs. In a Talk magazine article, J.Lo once claimed she sleeps 8 hours a night. Mariah's response? "If I had the luxury of not having to sing my own songs, darling, I'd do that too." And let's be clear.
How did that J.Lo record actually happen? You wrote the song for yourself, or you wrote it for J.Lo?
No, I wrote it for J.Lo.
Mariah wasn't just throwing shade for the sake of it. The rumors about J.Lo using other singers' vocals, they've been around forever. Like, remember when J.Lo dropped I'm Real in September 2001 off her second studio album J.Lo? Well, tea time. That track was allegedly meant for Ashanti. According to Ashanti herself, I'm Real was originally being saved for her. She had already recorded the vocals, backgrounds, and all when suddenly Irv Gotti, the head of Murder Inc., who had signed her, handed the track over to J.Lo. And the gag is, they didn't even re-record the whole thing. Ashanti's vocals were left in, allegedly because J.Lo couldn't deliver the lines with the same energy. So yes, when you listen closely to J.Lo's version, you're still hearing Ashanti in the background. And here's where it gets even messier. Word is, I'm Real was originally meant for
Mariah Carey's voice comes from God. You can hear the gospel in her voice. It's very nice to see her in the church. The whole message in the video was just Vision of Love. Was one of the first songs I heard when I was a kid, where I heard all of these riffs, and I was like, how does she do that? In this little short amount of times, the amount of notes she could squeeze in that one little bar, 2 bars, was fascinating to me. And that's kind of when I started trying it. And it's something that I love to do in my music, but she completely inspired me.